8:30 registration, and then round 1 starts at like 11 a.m. and you already know the tournament's on tilt. That has not really been a thing this year.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like they shake hands.
All right, they're ready to go. Let's play Pokemon.
We are ready to go. We'll start off with Aaron. He will draw, and it looks like Aaron starts with a... I can't tell. Is that a...
So he starts Tapu Lele, but he's got a computer search in hand, so he says, you know what, it's going to be okay.
Tapu Lele. He's got a Trubbish down. Or Danny, I'm sorry, starts Drampa with a Trubbish down, and Aaron starts off immediately with that computer search. So Aaron's kind of just checking through his deck. You know, I'm going to be honest, I can't tell you I've seen much of Miss Magia's Garbodor. I haven't seen much of that archetype, but I imagine here that Danny or that Aaron
I don't
wants
think
to
that is an archetype. You can't call it an archetype if no one's ever done this. He's like living the dream here.
So Aaron computer searches for Bridget and 3 basics. He's going to grab Trubbish, and Miss Drevis. You know, I think this is really what he wants. You know, Danny can attack for Psychic Energy with Garbodor and stuff, so Chaos Wheel isn't going to be as punishing, but he still hits for weakness, and I think that's very important to establish this lock as soon as possible. I also believe that the Miss Magius is a Ghost-type Pokemon, so I think it's weak to Dark.
Yeah, they're spending a lot of time rearranging each other's side of the board here. Aaron's like, I don't want your Trubbish all the way at the end. I want it in the middle. He's like, I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, this is, I'm sure we'll see a lot of this.
Stop the madness.
A lot of this zany play. These two have known each other for a long time. I believe they're good friends, so.
Are they? All right. I mean, there's the mind games.
Yeah. Maybe Aaron wants that Garbage Collection Trubbish in the middle, so he can target that down first. Maybe he doesn't like it as much. Danny goes for another Drampa, another Trubbish, and the Roadblock. You know, Roadblock not as, you know, punishing against this deck like a Zoroark deck, but, you know, maybe Danny realizes, you know, if I can limit the amount of Misdreavus and Trubbish that Aaron can put down, I can try and control this game. So Aaron plays a Mysterious Treasure, discards a Mysterious Treasure. There's already 4 items in the discard pile from Aaron's side. So that there's one item, that Miss Magius is 1 item away from being knocked out by the Trash Lunch Garbodor. But he's probably grabbing maybe a Lele. Looks like that's what he's eyeing up.
Yeah, this is a great moment. I think you're, as a guy who knows some Pokemon history, Danny's really the guy who popularized the Bridget turn 1 that both of these guys just did with the Zoroark deck that he played last year at a regionals, right?
Yeah, he did. He had a lot of success with Zoroark Drampa last year. I believe he top 4'd Madison regionals, and then he won Mexico City regionals. And that deck, you know, Bridget, turn 1 Bridget was pretty big with Drampa as well, but Danny used that to great effect to get those triple Zorua, something kind of foreshadowing for the season to come when Zoroark GX was released. So Danny takes a Lele there, grabs a Cynthia, grabs a fresh 6. You know, Cynthia obviously such a strong supporter card.
I remember that fondly because I was somebody who always thought Zoroark Break seemed like an awesome card, and yet it had never really found its place in the meta. And then Danny went on a tear and did amazing at a slew of tournaments.
So Aaron retreats to this Garbage Collection Trubbish. Garbage Collection for a colorless puts a card on top of your deck from your discard pile. So very good at resource conservation, reusing resources, and he puts a Computer Search, which is, you know, obviously probably the best card in Aaron's deck.
In any deck.
In any deck, really,
People love themselves some Computer Search. You're never sad to see that.
So Danny plays a Parallel City, gets rid of that Lele. You know, I think Lele is actually going to be pretty good for Aaron here in this matchup. Being able to deliver clean 2 shots on Drampas. You know, if Danny plays it smart and doesn't play a lot of items, a lot of damage from Aaron's side is going to need to come from that Lele. So, looks like Danny, Mysterious Treasures here. Not sure what he's looking for. That's a card we haven't seen too much, I don't think, in these Drampa Garb decks. You know, I think they've just kind of opted for Ultra Balls. And Danny realizing, you know, just how powerful being able to grab his Garbodor line is for just 1 discard. Allows him to save some resources. Danny plays a Chorus for 7 here. I think what he wants to find more than anything is just a Psychic Energy. Just start getting some damage down with Drampa. No special energy to discard, but he needs to be able to power up for Berserk, and I don't see an energy in Danny's hand. Oh, there is a double,
He's
actually.
he's got the DCE, so he's probably going to throw that on. Does he throw that on the bench drampa, or does he put it on the drampa in the active?
You know, I think he puts it. You know, it could go either way, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know if chipping the active garbage collector Trubbish helps. Yeah, he'd rather keep his.
The thing Danny realizes, though, you know, looking at his list, he runs 4 double colorless, 1 rainbow, and a psychic. Aaron immediately discards that double colorless. Danny really, you know, only 4 of his energy are safe from Aaron's side of the board. Aaron's got 3 enhanced hammer and Xerosic, so Aaron can actually discard every single special energy in Danny's deck. So he needs to, you know, be really careful with these energy placements.
And if he chaos wheels, he can't attach those at all. Having said that, obviously Danny's in a way better place than probably the Zoroark decks that Aaron feasted on day 1,
Definitely.
and Buzzwole decks that he hit for weakness with Miss Magius and Garbodor. Is there a deck here that you think has like an advantage?
You know, looking at these lists at a first glance, I'd think maybe, you know, Aaron does because of this energy control, but Danny's a very smart player, and I think that, you know, Trashalanche is strong enough to actually carry Danny pretty far into this game. Those few double colorless placements he will have, if he plays them smart, I think he could take this game. I think this game is actually a lot closer than it looks on paper. But we'll have to see. I don't actually know. You know, I've never watched Aaron play with this deck this tournament. I've never seen this deck before, so he obviously knows something.
Yeah. Having said that, I assume. I mean, the other kind of meta decks are a much more favorable matchup. This is going to be a tougher game for Aaron.
This is definitely going to be a very grindy, kind of attrition game.
Yeah.
So Danny searching his deck for a supporter. You know, maybe he takes a Colress here if he hasn't played that. An N. I'm not sure. What did he take?
He didn't take a Colress because it wasn't blue enough.
Okay, so I didn't see what it was. Could be a.
I'll be proven wrong in a moment, people. Just give us time. I think
it's a Guzma. Okay, so he is valuing attacking this Miss Magius. He wants to be able to play his double colorless, so he will knock that thing out. I'm not sure. Miss Magius, I think that had a. Oh, that was a Misdreavus still.
Yeah, he had not evolved it yet, so it only had 60 hit points. He was able to take a clean knockout with the Lele.
So that is very good for Danny. He wants that. You know, now Aaron has to bench another Misdreavus. It doesn't look like he has been able to draw too well this game. So, you know, if Danny can kind of control the Miss Magius on Aaron's side, then I think Danny has a good shot at winning this.
You know, other than the, I mean, there's no stadium removal in Aaron's deck, is there?
There is a Delinquent.
Right.
That's a very kind of, it's a slower stadium removal.
That's a tough way to get rid of a stadium.
Yeah, it's much more it's much more control oriented though. So Aaron is kind of valuing that discard.
Yeah.
Over just being able to discard it.
Well, unless he uses his supporter for turn to get rid of the stadium, he's going to have to play with 3 Pokemon this entire game.
Definitely, yeah.
And that's a tight bench.
Danny, however, you know, I don't know if Danny knows Delinquent is in there. So if Danny, you know, accidentally plays himself down into 3 cards, Aaron can really punish him and kind of crawl back into.
I assume Aaron's not going to want to play that supporter just to get rid of the stadium. He's going to want to play that at a key moment when he looks and he says, "This is my chance to, you know, put Danny in top deck mode."
Yeah, and the thing with Delinquent, that kind of the reason it fell out of favor a little bit. Delinquent really works once against a good player. You know, if you use it in the first game, very likely you'll never be able to use it again because they understand, you know, I have to play around this Delinquent the whole time. But being able to use it even just once in the first game, sometimes that's big enough to win the whole series. So
I don't know. I got to tell you, I mean, I think when they printed Delinquent, my immediate reaction was one Delinquent should go in every deck because putting an opponent in top deck mode seems so good. But what I found in practice was every time you play Delinquent, there's a Sycamore on the top card.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah, okay, just making sure everybody agrees.
Yeah.
There's only one way to guarantee your opponent top deck supporter, and that is playing Delinquent on them.
So Danny Guzma's up, Aaron's Trashalanche, and evolves into his own. I actually thought that was a Garbotoxin Garbodor from the artwork, but that is actually, I believe, the promo.
That's the alternate art.
Trashalanche Garbodor. Have not seen that yet. A little bit of style bling on Danny's side. But he's kind of in control of this game right now. You know, Aaron has a Misdreavus he can evolve but he needs something a little more than just Chaos Wheel for 30.
Yeah.
So he ends Danny down. Maybe hoping Danny doesn't draw too much.
So talk to me about Aaron's method of managing his discard pile. What the heck is going on there?
Aaron, he. Well,
And
actually,
Aaron
he just concedes. Maybe he didn't like you talking about the discard pile. But honestly, that concession is smart. Aaron was so far behind on the board state. It didn't really look like he was going to be able to take control of that game. And he values the time left in the game. It looks like there's almost 40 minutes left. So Aaron values, hey, there's still a ton of time. I can still win 2 games. We got to go to the next game.
Yeah. So while we're waiting, what do you think about the 19-point thing?
So that is a recent change, actually, that's been made. Why don't you?
So it's been announced for next year. For next year, everyone who gets at least 19 points would make top cut. It's a shame. It would be awesome if we had some data on how many extra people would have cut at this tournament.
Yeah, I think a couple people did whiff. I know Azul, he was at 19 points. I think he got like 35th or something, so he would have been in. I like it. I like that it gives more people a chance to compete for the title. It's unfortunate, when you go to a tournament and you have the record needed to cut, but due to things outside of your control like tiebreakers or whatever,
right,
you just can't make it in. So this gives everybody a shot at winning the tournament, so long as there are enough rounds to actually allow these 19 points, to theoretically.
Oh, we're getting right back into it. Those guys shuffled up quick because people are ready to play.
So Aaron starts with that famous Noibat. I'm sure Danny, I don't know if he was expecting that or even knows what that card does, but Aaron also starts with a Raw Bridget. That's perfect. So he's going to grab, I think, the same thing. It looks like Trubbish, maybe another Trubbish or a Misdreavus.
I think it's a Misdreavus, right?
And it is.
Yeah.
And this is, very similar to last time. And Aaron will just pass to Danny. So Danny now, he realizes, I got to play some items here that are crucial. Otherwise, they could just get discarded by this Noibat. So now Danny, he's got to think about what he wants to do. I saw Floatstone right away, so that's obviously something that'll go down. There's a Super Rod in his hand.
Is he really? I mean, if you're Aaron, is your strategy at this point to attach DC and start trying to discard items out of Danny's hand, or would you be wanting to attach your energies elsewhere and start trying to develop your board? I just don't know how aggressively you'd want to get after it at this point.
I think if I'm Aaron, depending on what Danny does here, if Danny, let's say he grabs a Lele for a supporter, and let's say he Sycamores and has a healthy amount of cards in his hand, maybe you Noibat. If Danny has a low hand size, I think you put the energy elsewhere. His attackers only attack for 1 Psychic, so he can afford to put this double here if he has one, and use that attack. Maybe he gets something out of Danny's hand, an Ultra Ball or a VS Seeker or something, so something to consider. But it looks like Danny just takes a Trubbish, so I'm sure he has another supporter in his hand already. And he does. It's a clean Juniper. We see the high five. That is mandatory when you play a Juniper when it's the only card in your hand. Gets another Trubbish off of there. This is a great start for Danny. He found 3 Trubbish without having to play Bridget. He's got that parallel control again, and he retreats to Drampa. Got an energy too. This is about as good as you want it from Danny. He's actually thinking maybe he doesn't retreat. That 20 damage doesn't really do anything to Noibat because it can be one-shot with a Berserk. So maybe he just opts to keep
like,
it
I'm going to
active.
kill that either way. The question is, who does he want Aaron to hit into next turn?
And so he does just
keep
leave
the Drampa clean.
Chooses to leave the Trubbish active. So now, Danny has 5 or 6 cards in his hand, and Aaron I believe he just top-decked a double colorless. So maybe Destructive Sound from Noibat is something he wants to use here, and it looks like he is going to do that at some point this turn here. Mysterious Treasures discards another discards a Guzma actually. So he's probably going to grab, I would assume maybe a Garbodor. He does take a Trash Lanch. Values, that's going to be his main attacker in this matchup.
This is going to be the first on-stream Destructive Sound in the history of the internet. We're going to immortalize this moment.
So both of these players have 2 Trash Lanch Garbodor, and so they're going to need to be recovering these to do the bulk of their damage here. And it looks like Aaron ends both players. They'll draw 6 because it's the start of the game, but Aaron is just hoping that Danny draws a lot of items.
Yeah.
That's all he wants.
If this was a big destructive sound, that would make me laugh.
That would actually, yeah, honestly, if Danny draws the trainer version of his consistency cards, VS Seekers, Ultra
Yeah, I mean, if you
Balls,
discard a bunch of Seekers here, it is crippling.
it is crippling to Danny. We can't see all the cards in his hand. Danny's being a little coy for the stream,
Come on,
but
Danny, show us what you got.
Aaron's got Computer Search for next turn, and he is going to Destructive Sound, and he gets Dowsing and a
Dowsing and a Seeker.
That is so big. You know, Danny still has a supporter, but losing those 2 valuable resources is huge for Danny. That Dowsing Machine especially, of course, is his ace spec.
Yeah.
So Danny just immediately has to end, and Danny, you know, you hate to see that if you're Danny. Aaron, of course, that's awesome for him. 2 big resources gone. More items in the discard. And Danny didn't really, you know, I don't know if he got too much out of that. He's retreating to Drampa.
Yeah, he's going to righteous edge that DC.
Now, a little more value out of it, but still, Aaron can attach another DCE, and Noibat will still not be knocked out by this righteous edge, but he puts a float stone on there. Maybe he's going to try and start trash lanching. I don't think there's too many items in Danny's discard pile. And Aaron opts to Colress for 6. Solid supporter here.
Yeah, I think that floatstone was more about the fact that he wanted to have the retreat option than some active desire to attack with something else. He just wanted to figure out what a strategy should be after that Colress.
So now if I'm Aaron, if I get, I believe that's a Psychic Energy at the back of his hand. So if I'm Aaron, I think I want to, oh, he just passes, so it's actually nothing good. If he had a Psychic, I was going to say this is when he starts Chaos Wheeling, locks Danny out of his special energies, but he doesn't get it. And Danny will Lele for Colress. Yeah, nice 7 cards.
Yeah, it was not a Psychic Energy.
Yeah, that would have been huge for Aaron. That was what he was going for. He did have a Mysterious Treasure, so he could have gotten it, but he opts not to play that. Don't need to put more items in the discard than necessary. Danny here, you know, what I think Danny wants, probably a double colorless to start doing more damage with Berserk, but also I think he wants to get a Garbotoxin in play, lock out Aaron's ability to use Tapu Lele, because Aaron's setup is otherwise not too good. He's only got the lone Trash Lanch Garbodor. And Danny
once again, he's got the parallel down. There's no Tapu Lele coming unless he takes a knockout this turn.
Oh, you are correct, yeah. So
is he going to garbage collect?
An interesting play. Danny opts not to do it instead. Actually, I believe he asked Aaron actually if he could take it back, and Aaron, being the good sport that he is, allowed him to do that. But Danny, maybe he. This Righteous Edge is very weak on Danny's side. It doesn't even knock out this Noibat. Doesn't discard a special energy. Doesn't really do much of anything.
Yeah. I think he's
retreating.
He's just going to garbage collect.
Does have a Psychic.
Says, let me get some of those items back in deck.
Maybe he puts back the Dowsing. Could put back a VS Seeker.
Yeah.
He does put back the Dowsing. He values the ability to grab any trainer, supporter, same in his discard. And it is back to Aaron now.
Yeah, he says if Aaron's going to use attacks that do no damage, I'm just going to garbage collect for a few turns and restack my deck.
So Aaron plays that Xerosic card. If you're watching the stream yesterday with Brent and I, you will remember that Brent is a big fan of Xerosic. So it's cool to see that here. Aaron knocks off the Floatstone on the bench Trubbish.
Also, I think that full art Xerosic looks fantastic. Garbage collection continues.
Aaron just actually Xerosic and passed. So
yeah, he has not found the energy, and he's in top deck mode with the parallel keeping him from accessing Tapu Lele.
And Danny is playing this smart. He's going to VS Seeker for Colress here and continue to set up. But Danny, he realizes that Aaron's not doing anything. Parallel locks out the ability of a Tapu Lele. So Danny's going to take this opportunity to kind of just put back some of these early resources for what he anticipates to be a very long and grindy game. Aaron cannot just concede this game, so he has to play it to fruition. So Danny is going to basically just kind of make Aaron fight for every inch of ground here.
I assume garbage collection is going to continue, even though there's just He's like, I'm already getting all the good stuff. He puts the Seeker back in.
Definitely. Aaron finally gets an energy, retreats to Miss Drevis and uses, or Miss Magius, and uses Chaos Wheel. That Garbage Collection Trubbish having 60 HP means that that is a knockout because it is weak to Psychic. And now Danny cannot attach a double to his Drampa or anywhere on the board. So he's going to need to find another Psychic Energy and a Trashalanche Garbodor if he wants to knock out this Miss Magius. Of course, Danny put back another VS Seeker, which he did draw, I believe, but he's going to play Bridget. He's going to grab, maybe just thin in the deck, grabbing another Trubbish for sure. I guess that's
I think he has no idea that Aaron doesn't play a Field Blower or any sort of stadium removal besides the Delinquent, so he keeps assuming that the parallel's not going to stick.
So Danny actually just Bridgets and fails the Bridget. Doesn't even take that Trubbish. That's an interesting play. I'm not sure why. He had, you might as well have these Trubbish down, but maybe he just wanted to search his deck.
Maybe he's had so many Float Stones discarded already, he was worried about getting it stranded active. I don't know.
Could be. I don't know. Aaron plays a VS Seeker again, and he looks like he is taking a Chorus. Has to keep drawing cards. I guess maybe Danny didn't want to put basics down to give Aaron the ability to draw more cards with Chorus. He sees that Aaron hasn't played a draw supporter other than Chorus this game, I believe. So
yeah, well, I'm sure Aaron is super happy to just draw something that lets him get back in the game.
Definitely, yeah.
After 2 or 3 turns of draw passing, drawing a Psychic and then a supporter has got to make him feel good.
And the thing for Danny, Aaron is only doing 30 damage, but Danny is down 2 Psychics. We see that Psychic on the Drampa, and that Trubbish that was knocked out had a Psychic as well. So Danny only has at max 2 energy to attack with in this game, and if he can't find them, shortly, Aaron is going to just lock him out of the game.
He plays a Super Rod.
Oh, he does play Super Rod. Okay, yeah. So if he can find that, that'll be useful, but it'll still take time to find the Super Rod, shuffle the energy back in, and then draw them, as well as finding those trash lands. So this is kind of... Yeah. This is where Aaron wants to be.
And when you look at Aaron's board state, it's one prize Pokemon. It's going to be a grindy, run you out of resources kind of game.
Danny plays an N. And the thing, this is interesting. Danny playing supporters and stuff, but Aaron is hoping that Danny will just have to keep playing draw supporters to hunt for these energy and these Trashalanche. And the more turns that he plays a draw supporter, the fewer resources he has left over the course of the game. And I think this is really how Aaron, with this Miss Magius deck, has won a lot of games. Similar to Seismitoad we saw yesterday, it's just very low damage, but it just grinds your opponent down until they can't really do anything. Looks like Aaron plays that Delinquent. Danny sees that, so he's going to discard 3 cards. Looks like he's got a couple pieces of a Garbodor line in there. Thinking about discarding them. Is that Super Rod in his discard, actually? I think that might be one of the cards in his discard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I didn't see for sure, but if it is, then that is not good for Danny. So he discards a Trashalanche, a Trubbish, and an Acerola, I believe. Discarding that Trashalanche hurts for Danny. And now Aaron has free reign to play a couple more bench Pokemon. Danny plays that Rescue Stretcher, puts back a Trubbish, Garbodor, and Trubbish, and he will VS Seeker. And you're seeing now Danny is kind of being forced to play a lot of trainer cards to stay in this game.
I feel like Danny's suddenly kind of picked up his pace of play a little bit. I think he's feeling some pressure.
Yeah, he is. He realizes, I got to start playing fast. I got to go through my turns quickly, see if I can get something going.
Yeah,
and if
the
not,
Super Rod is the bottom card in his discard.
Yeah, so he only has 2 energy left. So if he doesn't get an energy in a couple turns here, maybe he thinks, shoot, I got to go to game 3. I don't think Danny expected this to happen here after such a dominant game 1 win.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, Aaron had that turn where he ends and then Destructive Sounds, and that's a turn where you think Aaron kind of takes control of the tempo, and it didn't set Danny off because Danny had the N in hand, and instead Aaron was stuck drawing dead turn after turn. He drew garbage off the N.
Yeah, Aaron plays an N. Really, he's just looking for, maybe if he can find it, his Garbotoxin, shut off Danny's ability to use Lele. That's the ideal, I think, here. Other than that, just more evolutions. Maybe more energy to spread around his board. He finds a choice band. That's good. Now Danny's on a little faster of a clock here, doing 60 instead of 30. I believe that Tapu Lele has 90 damage on it. So it's
No, I think it's at 120.
120. So now it's a turn away. So if Danny does not find a float stone to get it out of the active spot, he's not going to pay a psychic energy to retreat it because he values it. And Danny just concedes immediately, sees the writing on the wall. I think there was a psychic prized as well. So one trash launch was going to have to go the distance there, and Danny realizes he can't do it. So that was very interesting. You know, we kind of saw Aaron's deck actually start to work a little bit. You know, the lock is surprisingly very powerful, even though it seems very weak on paper.
That game turned on a dime. I mean, as we said, like Danny had lost no tempo, and all of a sudden he got locked out of the game at an awkward moment for himself and kind of end himself into an awkward hand and suddenly said, oh, I have no energy on the board and no way to grab more energy.
Yeah, actually, you know, I think Danny realizes now that garbage collection Trubbish, which is very good at resource conservation, that gets knocked out in one hit by Miss Magius, which is actually huge for Aaron. That was really the tempo swing. So now Danny not only has to, you know, play around the lock, but he has to be even more careful with that Trubbish, which is kind of his saving grace in this matchup. So looks like players are shuffling up for game 3 here.
Yeah, they shuffled quickly. You know, it's been interesting. I feel like, and I think I was talking with Chip about this, I feel like I've seen people pile shuffle for years at regionals, and I think watching them on stream today, very few people have done big pile shuffles in between game 1, game 2, game 2, game 3. They recognize that pile shuffling is just a different way of reordering your deck as opposed to actually shuffling, and people are just shuffling quickly, couple of rifles, and they're ready to go.
Yeah, also takes a lot of time. Looks like we're into game 3 now. Looks like Danny, we can't really see what.
You guys want to go to the top of the board? We need a better view for the stream team.
There we go.
Where's our crack engineering? There they are.
So Danny looks like he started off with an Ultra Ball. Can't see what he discarded, but he did grab, I believe that's a Lele, and he takes an N. Does find that Psychic Energy for his Drampa right away. That's huge for Danny. He can get a double colorless next turn and just start berserking for some prizes immediately. Aaron starts that garbage collection.
And he doesn't need really damage on the bench to meaningfully impact Aaron's board if Aaron's not benching GXs.
Correct, yeah. So, and then Danny benches a Trubbish as well. So this is a strong opener from Danny. And we will see how Aaron responds.
Yeah, there's plenty of time to finish this game 3.
Definitely, yeah.
I don't think anybody is worried about them trying to get to the finish of this. After me having to commentate Trevenant games round 6, round 7, I'm loving the interactive Pokemon battles. I recognize it just goes to show how Trevenant is Trevenant in that, like, I'm describing Miss Magius and Noibat as being interactive battles.
Yeah, you know, one thing actually that's very interesting here that we've seen a ton of on stream, maybe Buzzwole is like the only deck we haven't seen this from. Every deck in Expanded is either built around some sort of disruption strategy, you know, Trevenant locking trainers, Garbodor locking abilities, Miss Magius here locking special energies, or it has the ability to do that, like Zoroark with Hex. You know, disruption is just so powerful in the Expanded format.
Did any Sableye decks make top 32?
You know, I would have to look at the standings again. I don't know. Aaron uses Juniper there.
Let's get Trainer Chip on that. Are any Sableye decks in top 32? I don't think anybody thinks so. Wow, that's a big change after. Coming out of Salt Lake, you would have thought that Sableye would be more popular, or people would have. I guess people hard countered it. I don't know what the hard counter to Sableye is.
Aaron plays a Lele again after the Sycamore, grabs a Colress. You know, I think he realizes maybe Garbotoxin comes down next turn, and I want to be able to use that ability. Danny just immediately ends. That's good for Aaron. You know, Miss Drevis, maybe he was worried that would get knocked out, but that will be safe. So actually Aaron can establish the lock immediately on this next turn, especially if he gets like an Enhanced Hammer to respond to Danny Energy Attachment.
Right.
Danny, of course, looking for, I'm going to guess maybe a Psychic for that Trubbish and a way to evolve it into Trash Launch. Or more Trubbish. Doesn't look like he found energy, and I don't even see a way to get Trubbish in his hand, but there is a double. So he probably, you know, he might as well attach it, use an energy attachment this turn.
Yeah.
He's going to retreat into Lele, actually. So he's opting to not attack this turn.
Would he energy drive, or does he just chill?
He does attach.
Yeah.
So he's going to energy drive for 40. If he gets maybe some more energy, Aaron doesn't knock this off.
Yeah, I think he didn't want to have Aaron hitting into his Drampa quite yet.
And Aaron immediately gets that Mismagius, and he is going to VS Seeker. If he can find an enhanced hammer, then he will put Danny in the same exact position. VS Seekers for Juniper, plays a Super Rod to put, looks like an energy and a couple Pokemon back, and he is going to Sycamore. And Danny is praying that he does not find one of his 3 copies of Enhanced Hammer.
Yeah.
Danny shuffling Aaron's deck.
That was a tough turn for Danny, because Danny was thinking, on the one hand, I'm not going to be able to take a knockout with the Berserk because there's no damage on the bench.
You can see Danny's body language. He is kind of nervous here, hoping Aaron doesn't have it. And Aaron has a computer search, and Danny has to know what is coming with his computer search. Aaron's just checking what to discard here, but I think we all know what's happening.
He's managing his item count.
Yeah, probably going to try and get a Enhanced Hammer and lock Danny out of this game. And he is looking, and he does find the Enhanced Hammer. He will Enhanced Hammer off that double colorless. And now Danny finds himself in the same position, except this time, it's happening on turn 2 or 3 as opposed to turn 6 or 7 from last game. And Danny, this is not what he wanted to see.
Danny reminds me of juniors. I always tell juniors, like, when you see that the other guy's kind of setting up to attack, don't start taking your Pokemon off the board like you've already attacked and killed it, and you've, like, emotionally moved on to your next Pokemon. But Danny had emotionally resigned himself to the fact that DC had no chance of living the second the computer search came down.
Yeah, definitely. So Danny just, VS Seekers, going to take an N. He just, I guess maybe now he's looking for a Float Stone and a Trash Avalanche and a Psychic Energy. I don't know how many items are in Aaron's discard pile, but Danny is going to need 6. That Mismagius actually...
I think that 3 is the count.
Okay. There's just a huge pile of dice, so I can't see that. But Mismagius actually has 110...
It's a 3 on top of the GX counter where they're keeping it. It's hard to read dice.
Oh, okay, I see it now. So Mismagius has 110 HP, which means that Danny will need 6 items in Aaron's discard to knock it out. And Danny just passes, gets another Trubbish, and Aaron just right back at it, immediately Chaos Wheels again. Lele is a turn away from being knocked out.
Guys, I know seeing the spicy deck do what the spicy deck does is what the people want on stream. I mean, this is the magic here.
Yeah, Aaron has taken complete control of this game very quickly. I don't think Danny anticipated just how powerful this lock could be. I don't think anybody did, other than Aaron, obviously. But Danny just doesn't know what to do.
I think we thought going into this that the fact that he isn't dependent on special energy to drive his board state gave Danny a reasonable chance. He plays 4 Psychics, he plays a Super Rod, he plays a Dowsing Machine. He's got ways to get it back, but this is out of control.
And Danny, of course, Chaos Wheel locks out stadiums as well, so Danny can't even play his Parallel City. So Aaron has full access to his bench. Danny, he's looking through his deck, checking. He's going to grab a supporter here with Lele, probably a Colress just to draw cards. Try and find something to get going. Trash Avalanche, this Mismagius cannot one-shot the Trash Avalanche, so at least Danny will get 2 attacks with that, but Danny's going to need a lot more than just a Trash Avalanche.
So if Danny's able to find a Garbodor and a Psychic off this Colress, how does Aaron respond?
I think Aaron is just going to keep up the lock here. Something that's interesting is Aaron did not bench another Misdreavus. So once this Mismagius is knocked out, the lock is broken, at least for a turn. And that gives Danny a chance to attach some more, some special energy, maybe a Rainbow Energy to get another attack in with Trash Avalanche. But other than that, it's still in a very bad... Danny's still in a very tough position. He's played a lot more items than Aaron, so Aaron's Trash Avalanche will do a lot of damage. Danny's in a tough spot here.
Well, Danny just needs a Psychic to KO the Mismagius, and then there's no Mismagius.
How many items are in Aaron's discard pile?
He's got 5 across the top there. It's enough to KO.
No, Mismagius has 110 HP, so it'll only do 100.
Ooh.
So not enough So this is another
He's
turn
gonna-
of lock.
He's going to hit it back for 60. So he either has a choice of keeping up the lock
So he's
or
actually
letting the Trash Lunch KO him next turn,
he's
right?
thinking about using Guzma here. Maybe he's going to pull up like that Drampa on the bench with no energy. Maybe a Lele. Force Danny to find another tool to continue attacking. Meanwhile, he's got some other cards in his hand to set up his board. I think that's a Trash Lunch. Oh, that's a piece of the Mismanager's line. So he pulls up the other Trash Lunch. And this is smart because if Danny doesn't have a float stone, he'll be able to two-shot this Trash Lunch as well. And he retreats, and he's going to do that. He's going to hit Danny for 60. Danny needs to find a float stone here. Or a Psychic. And he Lele's, and he's going to take, I think, an Acerola. Big play for Danny. He'll be able to pick up that Trash Lunch, and he's going to push up his other Trash Lunch and finally break this lock. And now Aaron needs to find a response to this. He didn't really play much last turn, so we'll see what he has. He's going to send up the Garbodor, or the Drampa, sorry, and he'll just Righteous Edge. This is smart. He's not putting his Trash Lunch in danger. He knows that he can use that to one-shot the next Mismagius when it comes down and prevent Aaron from resuming the lock.
Yeah, and while the count is only at 5 items, there's now a 6th item because there was a choice band on that.
Yes.
So now he can one-shot Mismagius all day.
Yes. Do we see how many items are in Danny's discard pile?
I think the count's at 5.
5 as well. So Danny actually hasn't played that many items either.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was playing a lot, but maybe it was just raw supporters that he was playing. Aaron is playing Mysterious Treasure.
A 7th item means that a choice band on a Trash Lance will knock out a Lele.
Yeah,
Man.
that clean Lele. So now Danny, somehow he was able to withstand the lock. A couple of fortunate draws there, finding that Psychic, but now Aaron has to figure out, how can I regain control of this game and stop Danny from storming back in.
Yeah, I mean, he has no way to one-shot this Drampa.
So he benches another Misdreavus, and he's going to retreat into the other Lele, and I think he's just going to pass. This is not good for Aaron. Now Danny sees this is his opportunity to not only come back into this game, but take control of this game from Aaron.
Yeah, well, it was interesting. Even though the whole time that lock was up, Aaron was not really developing his board state, right? The Trubbishes were not evolving. He couldn't get another Misdreavus down. He wasn't attaching energies at all. He didn't get that far for 3 turns of draw pass on Danny's side.
So now Danny, he gets another Trash Lunch in play. He's thinking about attaching to that Trash Lunch, but he opts to instead. Now he's still thinking about it.
Does he want a parallel, or is he just going to throw away the damage Lele and Danny wants the damage Lele on the board?
I think I'm not really sure. On one hand, it does get rid of that damage Lele, which Danny wants to feast on with his Trash Lunch. But at the same time, there is this clean Lele that Danny can one-shot. Aaron's most likely going to have to play some more trainers at some point this game. Danny, that parallel is another aspect of control. I think it's fine either way. And Danny will attach a double colorless to his Drampa. I actually like this play a lot. He realizes this double will get hammered off, but this gives me a free turn to attach a double and conserve that psychic energy. He's still putting damage down. Still progressing his board state with a chorus here. Big chorus for 10.
Chorus.
That used to be the best chorus you could get. Now, of course, not even close. You can chorus for 16 against Zoric decks. And Danny draws a big 10. Really, he's doesn't need too much, but he just retreats actually into the Trash Lunch with a Choice Band. And he one-shots this clean Lele. And that is huge. And so now I believe Danny has 3 prizes left to take. So not using parallel was very smart there. He preserves that other Lele on the board, so he just needs to one-shot that and one other Pokemon, and Danny will take this series. Aaron, of course, he's got to figure out what to do here. He just passes. Oh, this is huge for Danny.
Yeah, Aaron has not had, even though he had a brutal lockup on Danny and Danny couldn't do anything, he was unable to develop his board state during that period. And, Aaron's dead hand is just killing him here.
Danny attaches a rainbow energy to the other Trash Lanch. Guzma's up that Lele. He is getting ready
Berserk is coming.
to take it out, and he will just use a clean Berserk, preserving both of his Trash Lanch here. Very smart play by Danny.
Yeah.
And Aaron and Danny is one prize away. Aaron, you know, he's got to top deck something here.
Yeah.
And
Aaron's playing out the string, but I think this game's over next turn, right?
he top decks a VS Seeker, so I don't know what he'll take. He needs a miracle here. He needs Miss Magius, maybe a Field Blower, which he actually doesn't run. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know what Aaron can do.
I mean, there's no situation that he has to kill the Trash Lanch. There's 2 Trash Lanch on the board. They're both powered up. Yeah, you can't win there.
Game is over.
Get there. He was gonna get Trash Lanch for the win next turn.
Danny takes a convincing game 3.